Did you know that there is a Buddhist temple so large that it resembles a hand-carved mountain featuring more than 2,600 reliefs and 500 Buddha statues, which was built 1,200 years ago? This is Borobudur, the largest Buddhist monument in the world, hidden for centuries in the jungle of Java, Indonesia. Today we're going to walk through its history, uncover its secrets, and understand why this temple continues to amaze believers, travelers, and archaeologists alike. Get ready for an epic journey through the heart of Buddhism in Asia. Let's get started. Located in the Magelang region of central Java, Indonesia, Borobudur stands approximately 40 kilometers from Yogyakarta, surrounded by volcanoes such as Merapi, whose eruptions have shaped its history over time. The history of Borobudur dates back to around 800 AD, when the island of Java was ruled by the powerful Sailendra dynasty, a royal family that adopted Mahayana Buddhism. At that time, while the first Romanesque churches were being built in Europe and civilizations such as the Mayans were flourishing in America, the kings of Java undertook a project that would forever change the landscape of their island: to erect a monument that would symbolize the Buddhist vision of the universe. Although no written records reveal who designed Borobudur, it is believed that thousands of artisans, architects, and laborers were involved, who sculpted volcanic stone for at least 75 years to complete the work. Borobudur is not just a Buddhist temple. It is a monumental representation of the Mahayana Buddhist worldview, built to guide worshippers through a symbolic spiritual journey to enlightenment. According to archaeological studies and accounts that have been reconstructed, the temple was erected between 750 and 850 AD, during the reign of the Sailendra dynasty, which dominated much of the island of Java and was known for its strong support for Buddhism. The primary hypothesis regarding its purpose is that Borobudur was conceived as a three-dimensional mandala, a model of the Buddhist universe that allowed pilgrims to physically ascend through its levels, serving as a metaphor for the spiritual path to nirvana. Each terrace symbolizes a distinct stage of consciousness, ranging from the world of desire and attachment to the realm of formlessness, where complete liberation is achieved. It is estimated that between 20,000 and 30,000 laborers and artisans worked for decades to complete Borobudur, moving more than 1.6 million blocks of volcanic stone, which were carved and assembled with such precision that the structures remained stable for over a millennium without the use of mortar. Each stone was placed as if it were a vast multi-layered puzzle. During its heyday, Borobudur was a place of intense religious activity. Mass processions, festivals, and collective meditations were held, bringing together thousands of pilgrims from Java and other kingdoms in Southeast Asia. Monks and practitioners ascended the terraces clockwise, reciting mantras and gazing at reliefs that chronicled the Buddha's past lives, seeking inspiration and spiritual understanding. This temple also served as a teaching center for monks and scholars, who studied the stories carved into its walls as if they were an open book of stone. The reliefs depict not only religious scenes, but also detailed portraits of daily life in Java in the 9th century, including peasants, merchants, musicians, and even deep draft ships, which provide evidence of intense maritime activity. Thus, Borobudur was not intended as a conventional temple or a place of daily worship, but rather as a space for pilgrimages, special ceremonies, and an initiatory journey that would connect the human being with the essence of Buddhism. More than a building, Borobudur is a spiritual experience sculpted in stone, designed to transform those who walk through it. The Temple of Borobudur is as impressive for its symbolism as it is for its architecture. From the air, it looks like a giant lotus flower emerging from the jungle. It consists of a square base and 9 stacked platforms, 6 square at the bottom and 3 circular at the top. This arrangement represents Buddhist cosmology. The first levels symbolize the Kamadhatu, world of desires. The intermediate ones, the Rupadhatu, world of forms, and the upper circular platforms, the Arapadhatu, world of formlessness, culminating in a large central stupa representing nirvana. The temple measures 123 meters on a side at its base and reaches a height of 35 meters or 114 feet, colossal dimensions that make it the largest Buddhist monument in the world. It is composed of more than 1.6 million blocks of andesite, a volcanic rock extracted from nearby quarries, transported by hand and assembled with a cement-free lacing system. This system has withstood centuries of eruptions, torrential rains, and earthquakes. One of the greatest treasures of Borobudur is its 2,672 carved relief panels, which add up to more than 5 kilometers of stone narratives, making them the most extensive gallery of bas-reliefs on the planet. These images illustrate scenes from the life of Buddha Siddhartha Gautama, Jakarta tales, stories of the Buddha's previous lives, legends, and Buddhist moral teachings. Among the most outstanding reliefs are those that narrate the birth of the Buddha, his enlightenment, and his first sermon. In total, Borobudur is home to 504 Buddha statues, most of which are located in niches along the square levels. Arriving at the upper circular platforms, you will find 72 perforated stupas, each with a statue of Buddha meditating inside, visible through the stone holes that form diamond and square patterns. The large central stupa, 10 meters or 32 feet in diameter, crowns the temple as a symbol of the absolute emptiness that leads to nirvana. In archaeological excavations conducted between the 19th and mid-20th centuries, remains of offerings, coins, small statuettes, and tools used in construction were discovered. At the base of the temple, archaeologists discovered a hidden foot called a Kama Wibanga, a set of reliefs that were intentionally covered shortly after their construction. These reliefs show graphic representations of negative karmas and their consequences, with scenes portraying everything from pious acts to hellish punishments. Borobudur is not just an architectural gem. It is a key piece in understanding the development of Mahayana Buddhism in Southeast Asia and a unique testimony to the artistic skill, religious thought, and cultural exchange that flourished in Java between the 8th and 9th centuries. For Buddhists, it represents one of the holiest pilgrimage sites outside of India and Nepal, comparable in relevance to places such as Bodh Gaya or Sarnath. On a historical level, Borobudur reveals the profound influence of Buddhism on the Indonesian archipelago, long before Islam became the dominant religion in the region. Their reliefs document priceless details of daily life in Java more than 1,200 years ago. How they dressed, what musical instruments they used, how they traded in deep draft ships, or what the court ceremonies of the Salendra dynasty were like. They are like pages of stone that allow us to peek into a past that would otherwise be lost entirely. For archaeologists and anthropologists, Borobudur is a masterful example of cultural syncretism. It combines Buddhist ideas with local traditions, Indian architecture, and astronomical concepts, demonstrating that at that time, Java was a crossroads of knowledge, religions, and trade. Evidence has been found that Borobudur was carefully aligned with the cardinal directions and with certain astronomical events, showing the advanced knowledge that its builders had of the sky. The importance of Borobudur also lies in its ability to inspire. When it was rediscovered in the early 19th century, its restoration not only brought a monument back to the world, but it also sparked a renewed interest in Southeast Asia's cultural heritage and the need to preserve it. In the second half of the 20th century, UNESCO and the Indonesian government undertook a monumental restoration between 1975 and 1992, carefully disassembling thousands of blocks, cleaning them, and reassembling them using modern techniques to stabilize the structure and protect it from erosion and earthquakes. This effort was so successful that Borobudur became one of the first sites inscribed on the World Heritage List in 1991. Today, Borobudur remains a symbol of peace and wisdom. Every year during Vesak, thousands of Buddhists make a pilgrimage there to celebrate the birth, enlightenment, and death of the Buddha in a ceremony filled with light and spirituality. And beyond faith, Borobudur teaches that art and human knowledge, when preserved, can transcend centuries, religion, and borders, connecting us with the best of our history. If Borobudur was so important, so majestic and so sacred, how could it end up covered by jungle for centuries? The answer lies in a combination of natural, religious, and political changes that forever altered the destiny of this place. The decline of Borobudur began just a couple of centuries after its construction, towards the end of the 10th century. Although there are no direct written records, archaeologists believe that the frequent eruptions of the Merapi volcano, located just 28 kilometers or 17 miles away, covered the region with ash, making the area a difficult place to inhabit. Several layers of ash found at the base of the temple indicate that these eruptions were recurrent and devastating, forcing the population to leave the region or relocate to safer areas. Added to this was a profound change in the island's religion. From the 13th century, Islam began to spread throughout the archipelago, driven by traders from India and Arabia. Within a few generations, the Buddhist and Hindu courts of Java were replaced by Islamic sultanates. With the disappearance of its patrons and the conversion of its faithful, Borobudur was left without the support it needed for its maintenance. It stopped receiving pilgrims, monks, and donations and began to be swallowed by the jungle. Over the centuries, the structure became overgrown with vegetation and fell into disrepair, eventually disappearing into oblivion. Stories about a lost monument persisted only as legends among local peasants who avoided the hill for fear of the spirits. In this context, the last inhabitants linked to the temple dispersed or assimilated into the changing Javanese society, ultimately fading into history. The rediscovery of Borobudur occurred in 1814 when Thomas Stamford Raffles, the British governor of Java, heard rumours of a vast temple hidden in the jungle. Raffles sent an expedition commanded by the Dutch engineer H.C. Cornelius, who together with about 200 workers managed to clear the hill partially. It was then that the world saw Borobudur again after almost 800 years of silence. Today, thanks to decades of restoration, Borobudur is once again alive, but its abandonment reminds us how the forces of nature, changes in spirituality, and political conflicts can erase almost entirely even the most significant human works. Borobudur is not just a temple, it is a stone song to the human spirit. Every relief, every stupa, and every step reminds us that civilizations may disappear, but their art, their faith, and their dreams can survive for millennia.